Good evening. Welcome to Rivalz Race Chat. Clinton, Geoffrey, and Adam Ross here as we are every Tuesday. And we can be this close to each other here on the show, just not in real life because
Yeah,
Adam's wearing an orange shirt. No, what's up, dude?
yeah, it's kind of orange. You don't like orange?
I love orange. And, Reconciliation Day last Friday, last weekend. So there was lots of orange shirts out. That was cool to see too. So, no, orange was the color. I fought to keep orange at Ush Week until the very end. Steve Lyons, Greg Callan, they will let you know that I fought the orange at Ush Week until the bitter end. And this year I just had to give it up. It was the blue or my job, so I got to get paid still. How you feeling though? In grand serious, let's talk about your situation. The reason we have things laid out today is kind of chronological order from how our weekend went. We saw some great racing across the Horn, and you called me when it was I think Thursday morning and said I'm not feeling good.
Yeah, Thursday morning, not feeling good. I was going to do what I could. I knew I hadn't gone to work, and man, I just felt shitty, really, really bad. Like Wednesday night was a bad, like as sick as I can remember being. Just headache, dizzy, and just a state of confusion. Like it even bothered Angie the next day when she got. She says that was some freaky shit. So I was feeling bad enough. Then I finally tested, I think at the end of the day, Thursday night maybe or Friday morning, and tested positive for COVID. So Angie did the same thing, tested positive for COVID. And, it's one thing to go to work sick, like, and work through it, but not at the risk of getting other people that sick. So it was terrible. It was like being sick, whatever. I survived. I'm still alive. Still went back to work today. Lasted about an hour, 2 hours, just real dizzy. But to have to sit and watch streams that I wish I was on really sucked hard.
Yeah, we missed you. It was
good shows.
One of the biggest
really good racing.
One of the biggest weekends of the summer for us at G-Force Thursday. At a Humberstone, we kicked things off. Then Friday night, Ush Weekend for the Canadian Sprint Car Nationals, and then Saturday to finish off Canada Day weekend at Delaware with the APC Series and a few other classes, Oscar and the Super Late Models. It was pretty cool to be there too. So we'll show you some clips from all that tonight. We've got some of the story makers from around those events as well. Mike Bohm was going to join us here shortly and talk about his wild Thursday where he won the crate sprint race and then went on to crash his modified about 10 minutes later. So it was the thrill of victory and the agony of defeat all in one shot for Mike. We'll talk to him. Ryan Turner's going to join us, talk to him about what it meant to win the Canadian Sprint Car Nationals presented by Burger Barn from the Burger Barn team. So that was cool. ABC, we're also going to talk to Jake Sheridan about his fantastic run on Saturday that didn't end very fantastic, and J.R. Fitzpatrick, who ended up winning that race, who is a player in the story. And we get both sides of the story as we get into that one as well. We also have a bunch of other stories and videos to follow up on, so we'll get them as soon as we can. Spencer, why don't we roll the sizzle reel from Thursday if you have it, and as soon as Mike gets on, jump on. So it was the Action Sprint Tour race plus the Knights of Thunder round number 1. Modifieds and mod lights were there. It was just a crazy night all the way around.
The track looked pretty heavy, Clint. It looked like there was a lot of bite in it.
Well, in the early parts there was, but near the end it kind of slicked off a bit. But by the sprint race, but it wasn't a dust bowl that Humberstone was for a lot of years. The place, well, that's a tough one. The place, and that's the one right there. We're going to talk to Mike Bowman about. Whoa, these guys are just cooking around there. Mitch Brown went on to win in round 1 of the Knights of Thunder, and yeah, it did have a chunky cushion there. It almost got Mac once at the end, and that was a pretty wild jump over the berm there. Mac was coming good, but just that outside was a little too chunk for the highlight man.
It looked like a good show to me. And now I only made it up. Mike's coming in. I was asleep after the heats on Thursday night, so I can't say it was all amazing.
Oh, beautiful! That's beautiful. You just fell asleep.
Done. Just looking at a comment there about Doug Gordon jumping into a vintage car, and I want to make sure we don't overlook Todd Gordon. from Friday night, because just before he crashed, in fact, just before he lost those couple of spots, I was watching those races thinking, man, Todd Gordon's got a shot here. He's putting in some really nice laps in that 28. And then just lost a spot or two, and then the proverbial wheels fell off.
Yeah, well, Mike Bowman should be joining us soon. Here's the Todd Gordon crash. It's way far up on the screen. The tire folded under, and man, that was scary. Just the way that car flipped over and spun. Show it a couple more times, Spencer.
When a car lands on a sharp point on the roll cage, whether it is the post of a fence or the top of a wall, those roll cages are not designed. They're designed to land on a flat ground, but not on a jutted surface like that. That's what freaks me out a little bit. That's the kind of thing that'll buckle a roll cage and get in on the driver's head. That landing right there bothered me.
The whole thing bothered me, seeing it real time and going up on the scene. I know, I consider Todd one of my buddies, and so it was a tough deal. Thankfully, he was okay. Got out of the car. Bell rung, obviously. You can imagine a bit stiff and sore the next day, but came back to race Glenn's backup car on Saturday. Glenn reached out to me Saturday morning and said, hey, can I get Todd's number? And it was cool for Glenn to reach out and make sure Todd could stay in the points of Maryville for the week and to get some time to figure stuff out. That was pretty cool. I just sent Mike Bowman a message, said join us anytime. Let's look at the Friday night Sizzle Reel. Spencer, it was the Friday night version, Canadian Sprint Car Nationals, July 1st. And, wild action is always at Ashweekend. It was a good event. Adam, car count was obviously not what we had expected it to be with the Americans away, but still some fantastic racing. Jacob Dykstra won the crate event, which would be round 3 of the Action Sprint Tour. And here's some wicked drone footage from Abby. I think right here is where the wheel broke, and you can almost see it break.
Oh, right on. Yeah, I see what you're saying there.
And still
that save by Paulie Colagiovanni on lap 1, that was phenomenal.
Yeah, play that reel again, Spencer, if you can.
And I mean, this view of it that we got didn't do it justice. The view from the turn 2, I think it was from the turn 2 camera that I saw. I'm like, oh my God, he completely spun out and then kept going.
Right there. That's where the spindle broke, Gordon's car, and you can see it kind of wobble a bit because I watched it a bunch on the replay and just kept backing it up. And then when he came around that next lap and hit the hole, it just buckled under and flipped the car over. Ryan Turner's ready to join us now. Bring him on. In the Petra Plus Burger Barn car, Ryan Turner, recent winner of the Canadian Sprint Car Nationals. Ryan, that was pretty cool that you could win Jay's version of the Burger Barn Canadian Sprint Car Nationals. You guys got a pretty good size crew. I'm sure the celebration was good on Friday night.
Yeah, it was great. That's actually second time I think I've won on one of Jay's nights. First time was at Maryville, so second time there. And obviously my first win at Ashweekend as well. So that was huge just for myself. My goal was just to get a win at Ashweekend this year, and to get a nationals. That's even larger, right? No, the crew celebrated, and even I think the best story about that is the guys that were in tech didn't even get any moonshine because we ran out already. So that was part of the story there.
That's awesome. Ryan, talk about your mindset when that yellow flag comes out right at the end to set up a green-white checker finish.
Yeah, I didn't like it. I was kind of watching the flagman. You never usually do, especially with a lap counter, but with no lap counter, I was actually kind of watching the flagman, especially when I got a little bit of room to breathe. And I saw the 5 to go, so I knew I was close. And I saw the 2 to go right before that happened. So I was like, oh, that's great, because I had no clue where anyone was behind me. I'd already talked to my wife, Jenna, and the crew beforehand and said, if I need to go somewhere, like, let me know at the fence on the backstretch there. And I didn't see her at the fence, so I knew we were running good, and she was nervous. Brady and Jeff were there giving me the okay, but I knew I kind of just had to keep the way I was running and, make sure I hit that restart right. That was the biggest thing. And I was coming down the backstretch when the lights were out to go green. And I was like, do I go to the top? Do I go to the bottom? Do I go to the top? Do I go to the bottom? And finally I was like, okay, I got to pick one now. And luckily it panned out, but.
Oh, that's fun. Clint, can I jump? Because do you remember, Clint,
Yeah.
I messaged, I said, I want to show this final restart again. Because from sitting here at home watching, Ryan, that restart was brilliant. You hit the one spot of dirt that was going to keep anybody from being able to pass you. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. I hit it right off the guardrail and four there.
Oh, it was.
Yeah.
I don't.
No,
do,
I knew I
beautiful.
needed the jump. I knew I needed the jump because he had already slid me on the was it lap 2 restart there. So I knew I needed the jump, and it was either that or get the grip off the high side of 4. So I needed to make sure I hit my mark.
And he didn't. Like, I thought for sure he was going to go where you took your car for the restart.
Yeah.
And he kind of stayed up in the groove, and that was just that 5-6 car lengths that, I mean, I'm sure you couldn't have felt entirely how much cushion you had, but it really was a non-factor from there.
No, and obviously don't know that until you watch the race after. And I know even with the scoreboard, sometimes you can see your number come up and then how quick the next number comes up. You kind of know how much gap you got, but didn't even have that on Friday night. So.
Yeah, Doug was struggling with that. There was some technical issues up there. Thankfully, they got everything going but the board. And it did change that dynamic a bit because you didn't have that ability to really know where they were. So it was an extra bit of distance between you guys and what you really had to know. You know, you guys can almost use that as a spotter the way it's positioned there, right, Ryan? You can see going down. You can see when they go up, and you can see how fast their number pops up after yours. Let's talk about Ryan. You know, you grew up in a modified world. Did you ever think when you were 5 years old riding around the tricycle? And the reason I can bring that up because I was in their garage when you were that old, riding around with your tricycle, with your dad was racing Bicknell and the boys. And would you ever thought you'd be racing sprint cars and not modifieds?
Not at that point. That's for sure. And even I remember when I did sportsman for about a year. Even the family kind of blackballed me then because I went and got a modified. But racing's all the same, and I have learned that a lot more with my brother-in-law, Chris running. I've gone up and helped them, and you can really apply any kind of knowledge and technology to cars. Obviously, they are different at the end of the day, but it's all racing. I think sprint cars, obviously, because they're the fastest badass car out there on dirt. But back then, no, I did not know I'd be doing sprint cars.
What at the end of this race, Ryan, you guys have had some success this season. I know there's always been talk of traveling a little bit. Does this change any of your plans? Does it make you want to get down there and chase some of the competition? Are you happy doing what you're doing up here with Ashweekon on Friday nights and picking and choosing where you go?
Yeah, as the crew knows, I've been busy with work and traveling all over the place. I've rarely been home. Haven't saw our house too much, just with some things that have happened in the recent days. But obviously, like to travel. It's just really tough, and especially with the tire situation, we don't want to use anything up that we're now leading 3-point series, and that could get interesting down when we get to the end here in August and September, right? So we would love to travel, but it might not be till once we're finally done around here, and then maybe we'll hit some big shows after that.
Ryan, what's been the biggest factor in the 91 car to get you guys up to where you are? You've come out of the box the first quarter of the season, the dominant car here around here. That's my final question for you before we cut you loose. What's been the biggest factor to take your program to this next level it's at now? The focus, just making sure everything is making sure everything's perfect. I was busy all weekends. I was at Mike and Laura's wedding, and I show up to the shop tonight, about 4:30, and the car's pretty much already ready to go. The crew's been awesome on the car, washing it, cleaning it, make sure everything's tight.
Make sure we don't, make big moves. My wife helps me out with that a lot. I'll tell her kind of what I want to do. And, we make sure we don't make big swings, make sure we're always learning something from every night. And I think that's our biggest thing. Just always keep the car, make sure it's underneath us, make sure we have something to drive, and, just making sure we don't overdo it. I've also had a lot of help from buddy Nathan Bavard in Michigan. He's been helping me out, teaching me on, the mechanics of a sprint car, and just having that extra little advice that always helps as well. My dad's got our engines ripping. That helps a big time. And it's just putting the full package together when you get to the racetrack. And I think that's, it kind of shocked me as well on Friday night that, we did so well, but I think that's the reason is we just try to, make sure everything is 100% and it gives you an opportunity to win.
Well, we'll wish for more success for you as the season goes on, Ryan. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me, guys.
Ryan Turner, winner of Friday night's Canadian Sprint Car Nationals, the 16th running. The 17th running is coming up Monday, August 15th, and Tuesday, August 16th. We'll get ready to bring Mike Bowman on, and Jake Sheridan is already on the line too. So we got a few minutes here with Mike Bowman, and then we'll jump right into Jake Sheridan. Mike Bowman, welcome to the program. Mike went on to win his first crate race on Thursday at Humberstone, and then 10 minutes later, totally destroyed the modified. Show it again if you can, Spencer, while we welcome Mike. Mike, how's it going? Welcome to the program. Got to get his audio up there, Spencer. Or Mike, one of you guys. Try that, Mike. Hello?
Hey, you good?
Hey Mike, we got you.
All right.
Roll the crash, Spencer, if you can. So, Mike, first off, crate things have been going pretty good for you. First year in it, bought the car. Things are going. Here's a look at the modified. So, what happened in the modified race, Mike? From our vantage point, it looked like you just steered right for the rail. Roll again, Spencer. Here, we'll see it a couple times. What happened, Mike, in the car?
Okay, so when we're coming to green there off turn 4, right there was a piece of a street stock fender hanging out of the guardrail, and it totally took the left front tire just like right down to 0 psi. So of course I'm on the gas, I'm drifting out, arcing. Todd's trying to keep me at bay. So we're tight on one another. So when I go to move away from Todd to set the car, because if you go in on a guy, it's really tough to set. So, I tried moving away from him, and with the left front tire down, I had no right turn in, available to me to correct that move. And I also had no warning that the tire was down. So the thing just kept turning left, even though I was putting right wheel into it. And I just couldn't avoid it at that point. It was too late.
And that, from looking at comments online, Mike, that you made over the weekend, that one hurt.
Yeah, Friday morning, my head was a little foggy. By Saturday morning, it felt pretty good. And then I went Humberstone and helped Terry get the track running there. And I bounced around in the push truck or the Packer truck a little bit. And I ran the pace truck. And I was kind of feeling it again, even after just running laps in the Packer truck. So decided to get a hold of my doc and got checked out today. And he's pretty confident, this is just a mild deal that's going to heal up pretty quick. And just, day by day, and hopefully good to go for the weekend. So I hope you guys can see that. That's what's left of it.
Yeah, we can see that. So what is the plan, Mike? You're not going to fix that car. You're just going to sell it off?
Yeah, it's well, I can show you guys. This is how that's what's left on the front end of it. It sheared the front end off right at the shock towers, and there's some other pretty severe frame damage to it. So I think this one's going to go down the road.
Right on.
Yeah,
It's a tough deal, Mike. But
I was just gonna throw in his sponsor. By down the road, he means TKC Metal Recycling, right, Mike?
Yeah, go down. Good one, Clint.
Sorry, go ahead, Adam.
Mike, not that you crash a lot, but you've been around racing long enough that you experience it. What makes one crash ring your bell and another one not? And I don't know if that's a dumb question, but I look at that, it looks like an ugly ride. But I've seen other things where you're sure, man, this driver's going to be hurt, and they climb right out of it. What is the difference in these impacts?
I mean, it's the first big one I've had in a race car. The last big one I had was probably at Bingham's, and Adam, you'll be probably one of the few familiar with coming onto the main straight at Bingham Park. I hopped, I think it was Dale Bonham's wheel, and I went airborne into the fence, and I was knocked out. And that was probably the worst one I've ever had. This one's not even close to that. I remember everything about I never lost consciousness. So that thankfully is pretty mild. But yeah, to answer your question, I mean, I think just the G-force that you subject your body to is probably what makes one worse than the other. This one, probably when the front end dug into the guardrail, was a big blow. And then when it came down on the cage, it wasn't, I think, as bad, but the seat bar is bent up a little bit. It came down on the cage, and yeah, I don't know what would have been the worst hit there. I feel like I've seen this a million times now.
All right, we can stop torturing you with it.
Foreshadowed the sprint car win totally. I went to a family barbecue. Everybody talked about. And there we go.
Yeah, there you go. This was what, 20 minutes earlier, 15 minutes earlier. Mike is standing in victory lane with his first crate win. Mike, let's talk about the crate sprint car program for a bit. The division's booming, especially with more guys like you. You're the reigning and defending Merrittville champion right now. Coming into it, well, you're not really defending that this year, so you're the reigning champion. It's big for the division to have you in it. Talk about what you've said to me maybe about how welcome you feel and how the camaraderie is different with this crew than anything you've raced with.
Yeah, I mean, I felt welcome by everybody. Met some great people so far. It's cool. I'm reconnecting with some old buddies from the asphalt go-kart days. I ran into Stefan Haas, who I used to race with the OKRA series with. Adam will remember him. And I ran into Tech. He was hanging out with the Gled Hills at Ashweekon, so that was cool to reconnect with him. Steve Lyons, of course, he's another guy that we used to battle at Bingham's with. And everybody's been pretty cool. I don't know, do we want to talk about the rumor mill, Clint? Or, I mean, I heard some unwelcome things to win. We'll leave that one. We'll leave that one, Clint.
No, you can talk about it. I mean, let's just clear the air right now. It's funny. I think it's fun.
Let's go.
Well, you started it. So what are you hearing?
Well, did you or did you not deliver my engine right to my shop?
Well, let's set it up properly. So,
all right,
Mike heard some rumors that he was going to be under a witch hunt over his motor being illegal because it wasn't on any of the lists or numbers. Well, I can tell you that the engine was bought by Strickland's. It was taken to DSC by Kevin Lovey's, picked up by Kevin Lovey's. It sat on the GSR floor for 2 years, I think, or a year and a half. And I personally delivered it to Mike's shop about a month and a half ago. So, I mean, I know the whole, unless it came from GM messed up, I ain't worried about that one. So bring it on.
So this isn't just cheating. This is cheating and collusion.
Not my first part. So I welcome it.
No, for sure.
Yeah.
And Mike, you know what it's like. That's what people do, and you let your car get tech. That's just how it goes. If nobody's complaining about you cheating, it means you're not doing very good. So some things you put up with and smile.
You win one race, and this is how it goes. Like, I think there's other people that have won plenty of races.
Well, Humberstone's all horsepower.
What I tell you, Mike, don't sweat it. Or the other thing we told you, if you don't want to worry about it, suck more. You won't have these problems. That's what I tell the guys who don't want to go through tech. But Mike, we got to move on, man. Thanks for joining us. Just want everybody to know you're all right, and want to give you a bit of props for a good win coming out. I think you're great. You got a good situation there. You're going to be good. We're going to be talking to you lots, man.
Okay. Thanks, boys.
Have a good night, Mike.
Thanks, Mike. Good to see Mike on. Let's bring in Jake Sheridan now. We're going to just keep hopping from one to the next. Whenever you're ready, Spencer, bring Jake on. We'll talk about switching over to Delaware weekend now. Jake's been hanging around for a while, and we're a few minutes behind. So we appreciate Jake waiting in with us. Saturday, I was there, Adam. Jake was the story of the day right from the get-go. Led most of the race right up to the very end. And then we'll let Jake tell us what happened, but go ahead, Adam.
Right. Drove a great race, a number of restarts, at least 3 restarts in a row. And Jake elected to start on the outside, and he owned it. Owned the outside. Just had the car to beat. Then at the end of the race, things went a little bit sideways. Jake, walk us through. First off, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Happy to be here for the first time, and this is a cool deal.
It's not your first time here.
Oh, it's my
Is it
second
really?
time, isn't it? No, I think it's my first time.
Wow. What's wrong with us?
I'm positive.
So, Jake, walk us through the last restart. What was different? What went different about those couple of laps? Because as I just said, you drove a phenomenal race. You executed everything perfectly, and things went your way. And then all of a sudden, they did not.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. I mean, you pretty much told the story right there. It went our way until it didn't. It's unfortunate, real deal there, I guess. It's definitely had the car to beat. Did everything we could. I mean, I obviously put a lot of trust in the guys I was racing against picking the top, and I thought that'd be an okay decision, but it was unfortunately didn't pan out too well for us. So I don't regret my decision. I think no matter what happened in 3 and 4, however, I ended up in the 4th lane there. Whatever happened, I think we could have raced our way out of that. We had a good enough car. There were 7 laps to go. I mean, we had a good enough car to make another charge at the win. I know that for a fact. It's unfortunate what happened after that. So it's too bad. Like I said, it's a tough spot to be in. Everybody's always mad about everything. So it's a tough spot to be in here talking right now. But it's unfortunate. I guess we'll take it and just better ourselves from it for Flamborough.
Yeah, Clint, I'm gonna follow up again because you brought up the point that I wanted to make, Jake. Everyone is upset, but when I watch that back, and I watched it a number of times, and I put myself in anyone's position, yours, JR's, Trayton's, or Rick Spencer Walt, and I think, shit, here's 4 guys who I wouldn't necessarily have done anything different if I was any of them. Right? Obviously, JR had a number of opportunities to run the bottom, and he couldn't get the best of you. So did he just drive it in a little? So that replay, Spencer, that we show, we really need to back it up. You need to back that up to the entrance of turn number 3, because that's where things go down. Did he overdrive 3? Did you try to pinch him down? Obviously, there was contact.
Well, I see you got him coming on here next, so I'd hate for him to tell me I'm mouthy, but I don't know what else to tell you. We did it 3 or 4 times, and obviously it was quite obvious that I was the better car. He was good in the short run, but I sure had a rocking on top, and I think he knows that. It's a tough spot to be in. I mean, I watched the video many times. I watched the onboard. Tom's photography, I think they did a great deal there with the onboard. Everybody's got their own opinion. It don't matter what I say, it doesn't matter what he said. I got my idea, and everybody else has theirs. So
but that's what we want. And like I said, it's not mudslinging. We want your opinion of how it went down or what might have happened, because I can spout off about it. So can Clint. So can JR. But at least if we get everyone's side of it to say, hey, if this hadn't happened.
Yeah, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, he drove it in there until he hit me. I don't think I think there was lots for him. He's complaining about being on the flat. Well, if you watch any Delaware weekly program, the inside line's on the flat. That's why nobody runs it, because it's not as good. So I was actually better the higher I went. And I did that a couple restarts in a row. I was running higher and higher and higher. And I don't know how you can say you're getting pinched when you're on top of the yellow line. It wasn't like he was getting pinched below the racing surface. Yeah, like, I mean, and then obviously he says he came off of me. Well, I'm pretty much in the dust there. I mean, the asphalt, you don't see anybody else running that high. The cars behind us are too wide, and they're still a lane below us. So, I mean, it is what it is. It is what it is. I was fine. Like I said, I was fine. What I necessarily on that move, I know I wouldn't have, but it's fine. When you're starting on the outside, you got to expect something like that's going to happen when you pick it. And I was, like I said, I was fine with that. Even if I could have got out of that and finished second, obviously would have been dejected to win that many laps and finish second, but at least we wouldn't be working with a wrecked race car. So, I mean, JR's move, he took me out of the lead, but he's not the one that wrecked me. So it's very unfortunate. Obviously, it's very, very unfortunate. I'm not saying JR destroyed my race car.
Yeah.
So Jake, I guess my question for you is, when we get to you, we're asking you these questions. You're hot of the car. You haven't got to see it yet. Has your opinion differed from the heated interview you gave me in the pits to where we are now after you've seen it a bunch of times?
I think they're just the same. I said I was disappointed. I'm sure I am disappointed we didn't win. The move is the move. I mean, it is what it is, and that's the decision he made, so that's fine. There's one thing I said that I needed to edit. It wasn't I needed to change the thing. I said he was yelling at me, and what I meant to say is he's yelling at us just because there was a couple of comments made about some young guys. But I'm not here to bring that back up too much. So I think the interview, obviously, it's hard. I'm 19 years old. Some guys were saying on the weekend I was 21, but I'm 19, and I'm learning. I guess I'm trying not to be such a mouthy little kid all the time. Apparently, so I'm trying, and obviously maybe let it get better myself or not. But I just I'm really excited. I had a lot going on there. I had a good car, and I was calm all day. So had a lot going on. I really just wanted to win. I felt like we deserved that one. So it's unfortunate. It's always tough to take. Maybe some veterans would handle it better than I did, but that's why they're veterans.
Jake, don't change. Don't change a thing. This is why we wanted to talk to you to get your take. You drove a hell of a race. You have an opinion. Your opinion is valuable. If someone doesn't say you're young and mouthy, you're not talking enough. J.R. Fitzpatrick, J.R. Fitzpatrick made me a better announcer because he was young and mouthy for years. And we could feed off it and talk about it. So the sport needs those stars. We don't need our stars to shut up. We need our stars to keep talking. So not only do you do your talking on the track, but it's good to also do it off the track. So never feel bad about that. Sometimes when you have to walk something back, walk it back. But never say nothing. Your opinion is always valuable.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that. And it's great for us to say that. I mean, obviously everyone's going to say what they're going to say. So I appreciate it. I mean, it's just the way I am. I have a hard time being fake, so it is what it is. And that's the way I feel. So it's all good. I'm looking forward to working real hard in the car. I got my family here, Nikki and me and my dad and David White working really, really hard in that thing, trying to make it to Flamborough. So we'll do what we can here. It's going up on the jig there tomorrow morning. It's all tore apart. So we're doing what we can. We're trying to work all day long, and hopefully it's just as good as it was at Flamborough.
Right on, Jake. We appreciate you joining us. It was cool to see everybody chanting your name through driver intros. You very calm, cool. You certainly drove that race like a veteran for the first 90-plus laps anyways. You got more coming, and we appreciate your time today.
Appreciate that a lot. Thanks, guys. Really cool. This deal here is cool. And like I said, you guys always do a great job at the racetrack. I meant that when I said that in the interview, Clinton. I thought that was awesome. So I really appreciate it, and hopefully be on here again with a win after Flamborough.
There you go. Thanks,
Right on.
Jake.
Thanks.
Oh, man, I'm tired after this show. These guys are wearing me out today, Adam. One after another. It's awesome to have the story makers.
Yeah. Listening to Sheridan's talk will make anybody tired. The energy level they put out. But I mean what I say, Clinton. We don't need people to stay quiet. I have a feeling when JR comes on, he'll even say there's no need for people to be quiet. You just have to understand that what you say has consequences, what you do has consequences. Once everybody learns that and they find where their lane is. But I think Jake's one of the exciting people to hear talk and give his opinion, because he is a little he speaks so quickly that you can't you can't spin much of a story. You're going to get some raw emotion out of him.
Let's bring him on. Welcome, J.R. Fitzpatrick, to the show. Winner of the last 3 APC races, and holy cow, what a turnaround from the past year that he had, where he couldn't buy any kind of luck at all, and things have really turned around for you. J.R., welcome to the program.
Hey guys, thanks for having me. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you, buddy.
Cool.
So another win, three wins under your belt. Let's go right into it. Talk about that last restart.
Well, I listened to everything Jake said there. I mean, this is remember what I said when I got out of the car. I knew it wasn't gonna be a popular win because he's talking like it. He makes it sound like I did all that on purpose. Like, I think something we all need to look at, everybody, or whatever your opinion is on that situation, was what would have been if those other 2 guys weren't behind us. Okay, so we're racing with 6 to go on APC Tour race. I drove in hard. Jake drove in really hard. I did hit the flat. I bottomed out a little bit. I hit him in the door. But if you watch the videos, your guys' product and Thompson Photography on board, when I hit him, I lifted and I was off his door from the center off and not even on him on the exit. So why he stayed up there, I don't know. It'll be something him and I will talk about one day, probably not anytime soon. But the outcome, whatever happened after that, when I was half past him, that has nothing to do with me. And that's why I felt awful in victory lane, because I don't like seeing wrecked race cars. I don't want to see Jake or Triton or Ricky, any of them guys, get wrecked. And Jake was a dominant car. I said that. That's one of the first things I said. So a lot of that talk is like I know everything he said. I already know all this. I already know he was probably going to be the guy to beat. If there was no guys behind us, it was just Jake and I gone, he was so good, he probably could have collected it, and we could have battled again for the win with all that. So I just don't understand what some people's opinions are on this. There's, JR drove right through him. Well, I don't know how I drove right through him. We were side by side and we bumped a little bit. It's no different than what Andrew Gressel and I did. It's no different than when Ryan Kimball ran me low at Peterborough. It's racing, man. Nobody wrecked each other. In my mind, I didn't wreck Jake Sheridan.
JR, do you feel you could have got him in the end had that not come down? Were you just riding there like you were in the other races, or do you think it was going to come down to him really getting away from you again? Because he was able to get away a few times. And I think when you get down to 75 laps, you've worked your way to the front, you're right there. You will, what appears to be biding your time, you think he could have held on.
Yeah, he did the smart thing. He took the high group. So I did a lot of research and watching. I went and watched them Friday nights, and the high group was the dominant spot to be on restarts. So I was good for 5 to 10 laps, and then I just got real tight on exit after that. My car was good. I was happy with second. When it was 10, 15 to go, I was thinking, man, what a great points day, because Jake was class of field. There's no doubt about that. We wouldn't have got him if it was more in the 10 laps. I think with that 7-lap stint that we were doing there, that was my only shot. And like I said, man, with 7 to go, we both sent it in that corner. I don't care what he says or any of his buddies say. We both sent it into that corner like we were going for the win. And what more do you want us to do? We're putting on a show. We're each trying to win a race. And then there's 2 hard chargers behind us trying to do the exact same thing. So I really don't understand what people expected out of that situation. All I know is if those 2 guys were not behind us, we wouldn't be having this conversation right now. We'd be discussing what a great race it was, because I guarantee he would have collected himself and we would have raced for the next 3 or 4 laps. And who knows what the outcome would have been then.
JR, is there anyone you can think of at that age who reminds you more of yourself at that age than Jake Sheridan? Like I watch him race, and there's things that really remind me of how you were in a race car, like just unapologetically fast, didn't always do the right thing, but you were always quick and you were always vocal.
100%. Look, Jake and I have had some history beyond probably what people even know on broadcast. So there's stuff people can't see. obviously, you guys do a phenomenal job, but you can't video every car for every lap of the race. So, last couple of years, we've had a few incidents. We didn't talk for almost a year, and we tried talking there for a little bit a while ago. And that was something that we were going to discuss was I don't have anything against him. So this thing where people think I just wrecked Jake Sheridan for no reason is pathetic to even put that in your mind. So he is a phenomenal driver. He does remind me, just like myself, a gritty, just nasty fast when he wants to be, and all out. And I feel like, so I did say a lot of things about the whole respect factor, right? And people are calling me hypocrites. But the problem is I only said that in regards to people wrecking people. Like I've never stuffed people in the fence, never dumped anybody. So that's why I got a little upset about that. But Jake and I had a conversation briefly, and I wanted to discuss more with him that he's got a ton of talent, and he is just like I was when I was 19. If he's just a shorter version, I guess, but he's going to win lots of races. He's going to win a championship. I have nothing against Jake. I really don't. When we have these little incidents, it's more or less I get a little more pissed off and all the other people that are involved, because I even said to the officials that the best thing to do if he wants to come scream at me is you lock us both in a room, close the door, have one official there, and sort it out.
JR, let's put maybe this specific deal aside. How do these situations usually get resolved? You're both going to be in this series for a long time. You're going to be front runners. You're going to be beside him next week or the week after or the week after that. In your mind, how do these things get resolved? Is it you just catch them on a good day and you give a wink and a smile and you guys break the ice that way? Does it happen? Does it start with a call? How do these things get resolved for the fans to maybe understand it?
Honestly, it's a great question. I've been involved in these situations quite a bit over the years. Really, it's just time. I mean, he's going to be upset about things. He's got a tore up race car. I wouldn't be happy either. But I just think the other people that put their opinions in his head that deliberately wrecking someone, not just in this instant, but deliberately wrecking someone is silly. So I feel like it's just time. This probably isn't. We're probably not going to talk for another year or two, maybe over this, but it just takes time, man. It'll just be one of those things where you just walk by each other, and all of a sudden one guy cracks a smile, and you start, peeling the Band-Aid off, I guess. And hey, I want to get along with everybody. I'm trying to avoid politics and drama and whatnot. And I know people are saying I'm a hypocrite, whatever, but I'm really honestly trying to stay away from all that stuff.
No, I will say this in fairness. Clint, if we were to show highlights of JR making moves, trying to make passes this year, I go back to what he went through at Peterborough, trying to race for the lead. I go back to watching him race from the 6th row at Flamborough to win a race without a mark on the race car. I've watched JR over the years. I've seen times when lines were crossed. This year, I haven't seen it. Like, I've just watched really good racing, even that whole race with Jake Sheridan, with the exception of one move going into turn 3 where the two of you came together. That was really good, hard, clean racing.
Yeah, it was. And like I said, I didn't send it in there on purpose to say I'm wrecking this guy. We both drove it in deep, man.
You had tried.
You
had tried 8 other times and it didn't work. 8 times it didn't work. You got to do something a little different. It shouldn't surprise people that you tried to win a race. I would be upset if I was Jake, but if you were my driver and you didn't try to make that move for the win, I'd be mad at you as my driver. So it's just one of those things where it's good, hard, late model racing, and hopefully people buy T-shirts and come out in September to see the sequel. Yeah,
everybody's got their opinion, and hey, it'll all resolve itself eventually.
Jared, let's back up the whole day. You were there. You watch a lot of the classes. What was going on Saturday? I don't think I've seen a track that destroyed so much equipment in one day. And, everybody's going to say, oh, Delaware wrecked guys, or Delaware is a track where you wreck your stuff. I don't think the track had anything to do with any of those wrecks we saw. It wasn't a track issue. Just full moon, people say. What was it? Crazy day.
I don't know. Friday was kind of like that as well. I know you guys couldn't be there, but it was like that as well. I don't know, man. I just think it was so hot. It was brutally hot. Like in my practice, I was frustrated just at little things. Like it just must have been the temperature and the vibe because, man, there was a lot of people there. Like the pits were packed and lots of people in the stands. And I don't know, man. Everybody was just on edge. Like the pits were so busy. People were trying to back out of their pit stalls. There's people yelling at each other. And I don't know. I loved it. I thought the track had an awesome vibe. I mean, the fans were amazing. It was just really cool to see the place full again. And man, there were some nasty wrecks. I'm glad everybody was okay in that hot rod deal because I was sitting there watching, and then you look up and it's just like all of a sudden there's like 10 of them, just bang, bang, bang. So it was crazy.
Yeah, just a parking lot. We got a shot of it right here, there, and one lane change, and it's all over.
Oof, crazy.
And there again, there's an ill-timed move. I don't think anybody attempts to do that, but sometimes that's the result of a bad choice.
See, if I would have done that, Jake, I would understand why everybody would be so pissed off at me.
Yep, totally. And
JR,
as I say it,
thanks for being with. Go ahead.
Yeah, JR, thank you. No, go ahead.
No problem.
Nothing valuable.
JR, 3 in a row. Next race coming up, Flamborough. Can you repeat there and make it 4 in a row on the APC Tour?
Oh, man, it's going to be tough because, as you guys know, this will be the first track we've gone to for the second time. So everybody's got notes. Everybody's got ideas for moving forward. And I keep telling everyone it's really hard to run this good. And I'm really happy and thankful to be running this good. But it's even tougher to keep running this good. So we're trying to keep everything together, and we're trying to keep moving forward. And hopefully we don't have too big of a target on our back, and we just come out of there in one piece and keep moving forward.
Right on, man. Thanks for stopping by, JR. It's always a pleasure.
Thanks, guys. Talk to you soon.
Another one of the story makers from the weekend from our live G-Force broadcast, Jared Fitzpatrick, winner of the APC series. And the third one in a row, Adam. Crazy. He's the dominant force out there. And see, some years seasons just go your way, Adam. Like Jared wasn't supposed to win that race, right? That was Jake's race to win, and still came out of it with the win. And someday those are what your seasons are made of.
What would you have done different, Clint, if you were any one of the 4 drivers that were involved in that wreck?
I think the best way you put it, if you put yourself in everybody's position, there's nothing they could have done differently at that moment. There's some good sides to it. I mean, we call that action so fast, it's hard to place blame on somebody. Even, the hot rod wreck, we obviously know who's getting blamed for that. I didn't come out of there until the day later and actually got to watch it a bunch. That I was actually okay where I could make a call on that, even though I watched it a bunch of times. It was like a wreck on the highway. I could only imagine because it just went on and on. Like when you see those snow wrecks and the cars just keep piling in, it was unbelievable. We do have some great views of it. This would be our turn 1 with Jay Vander Hayden running that. This would be Robert Kabinga's camera 1 shot. And some nights at G-Force, we just hit on them and we catch them all. And this was one we caught. And then Abby caught it with the drone as well, which is an amazing shot. If we get to see
and I get how upset people are. But Tom, whether it's Tom or whether it's his spotter, sees a hole there, wants to clear him to the bottom. You're not going to lift. It's just a timing move. And he missed that move by about 3 inches and caught the back bumper of the 10 machine that Chris Lawrence was driving. And all hell broke loose. But look at the length of the hood on that 47. Like the distance to your front bumper, the front bumper is like 8 feet in front of where you're looking.
Watch Zardo on the Superbird. He makes it right through. It was perfect. That 46.
Yep. Got
it braked. Slow, inch his way through. Good reaction there for 80-year-old Bill Zardo Sr. Tough break for the hot rods. I did talk to Dave Gainforth, and he told me, they did lose a few cars, but they've had over 42 cars in competition already this year. A few of those guys were just Delaware cars. He says they're going to be all right. So the future is still bright for the Oscar hot rods.
And we should say Tom Walters posted an apology on the Hot Rods Facebook page. I thought it was a well-crafted note. He said his apology is sincere, not up for discussion. There was obviously more to it than that, but he owned it, and I think that should be commended as well. You can't take back what's done, but you can at least step up and raise your hand and say, yeah, it was my mistake.
I agree. Mixed bag. We have a couple things going on. Our Burger Barn videos of the week. We got a few of them in. First off, Kevin Lacroix Team 74 hot lapping at Granby. Then we'll look at the Dave Bailey Victory Lane altercation, and then a World of Outlaw fighting altercation based on that. So roll the first one, Ken Spencer. This Kevin Lacroix hot lapping at Granby, and the dirt race at Weekend is coming together. These cars are going to look good on dirt. I don't care what anybody says. I saw the practice at Weekend. And it's going to be awesome when we get a full field of these cars out. It was announced Friday that Christopher Bell is coming to Weekend to compete in both the 360 sprints on Monday, August 15th and 16th, and the Pinty's car. So we're excited for that. We hope to announce his team next week that he'll be riding with. Ken Schrader has also confirmed he will be in an entry built by McCall. So that's exciting to have Ken Schrader in the field along with Stuart Friesen, who's also been there, and then the full field of Pinty stars who've been there already. And we just saw Lacroix practicing. So don't forget to go to npsondirt.com. That's NASCAR Pinty Series on dirt. So npsondirt.com for all your camping, ticket, and schedule questions and purchases. It's all there. Next one would be Dave Bailey pulling into Victory Lane, and as they say, a Karen was very unhappy about something that happened at the Speedway. Roll this one. So this is Victory Lane right down the grandstands. Are we hearing it, Spencer?
When you're ready, take it away, Travis.
Oh.
Yeah,
Karen.
watch some of the language.
Oh, yeah, stand
Look at those kids looking over their shoulder.
Climbing out the car, ladies and gentlemen, salty fans or not, he won the race.
Yeah! Listen to Travis. Let Travis go.
Man, I think you ordered some French fries with some salt tonight. What do you think? It feels like Orange egg up here. We're ready to get beer cans fucking thrown at us. All right, tell us about the win there.
That was funny.
Oh.
Order some fries with your salty fans.
We shouldn't be smiling because that's, to me, someone should be escorted to the exit. You know, that's a guaranteed no-brainer. Boo!
Do you remember when?
Boo!
That's
loudly.
how I got in a fight on. That's how I got in a fight on the front stretch. A guy was doing the same thing to Billy Bleach, and we ended up dragging him out.
And I mean, I don't want to shame somebody, but I am really curious who that was.
I do. I want to shame them.
Now, you know what?
World of Outlaws officials going out of line. This will be another one we got here. Show this one. So they pushed the Hod and Shield car back, and I think the crew is upset at how violently these cars push back. I think this is just dangerous all around, Adam. And this is on the World of Outlaws, in my opinion. Okay, that's okay what they're doing there, but watch when it bumps up and hits the wing, the crew comes up and kind of gives the officials a what the hell are you doing? You're wrecking our car. Right there. That's where he doesn't like it. And this crew comes in, and I guess he's yelling at the official, and it sparks what's going to come up here later. Now watch the crew. They're all standing behind it, and watch. He just rams the car. I didn't think that was cool either. But then the official parks his buggy and watch, it goes to this view. Have you seen this, Adam?
I've only seen it from right here.
And the crewman on the right there, standing up, gets accosted by the official who comes in and grabs him by the throat right about here. And that's a series official. who's come in and grabbed the crewman by the throat. To me, that's a big no-no. Think if a crew did that to an official, what would happen to them?
Well,
Certainly not
the
cool.
first
There's so many
the
wrongs with
first
that.
thing, yes, exactly, and not the least of which is, but there again, people online, that official needs to be fired immediately. Take it down a couple of notches, right? Talk to somebody, talk to both of them. Maybe it's the first time they've ever done something like that in 40 years, right? Who knows? Take a breath, talk it out. That's wrong. That's wrong. Point out all the wrongs. Have a discussion about it. If nobody understands what they did wrong, okay, maybe you gotta take action. But if they do and say, "Hey, is this ever going to happen again?"
Yeah, still not cool. The officials got to have your stuff together more. That's the equivalent of a boxer or a boxing ref throwing punches in the ring. You can't do that. You're
Yep.
there to stop that stuff. Mixed bag. A couple things came up online. Again, comments. Ron Davis was talking about down at Fulton how they hold victory lanes till the next week. It's not fair. Your family comes out to see you win and everything, and then you don't get the victory lane till next week. Any quick comments on that, Adam?
Stop running 7 divisions of race cars per night. Stop running a novice entry level. Like sportsman is sportsman. There doesn't need to be 3 divisions of them. But when you have 3 victory lanes, it becomes a problem. Let's get away from running all of these freaking classes.
I'm with you. How about our show on Friday? 2 classes of sprint cars, one light modified class. Things went pretty good.
And I timed. You know what I'm like. I timed victory lane from the last car that goes by the checkered flag till the next class being rolled out for their feature. It's impressive.
How were we? What times?
Oh,
I'd like
5 minutes, 5 minutes, 40 seconds. That's tight.
Right on.
Finish a race, weigh a car, top 3 interview, get your pictures, get them gone, get the next class up. That's barely time to have a whiz. Like that's impressive. And I would throw you under the bus if I could. You know that.
Wait a minute, Spencer, did you just hear that? I think that was a pat on the back without getting a pat on the back. Tell me you're impressed. Don't tell me you're telling me you're impressed, Adam. Okay. Next one. Where am I at here? Justin Sharp made a comment online about how he was disappointed, even with the high purses posted this weekend. Still light car counts. Are we still able to blame it on gas, fuel, tires, or people just picking sides and not supporting races they should be supporting? Adam, what's your take on it?
Racers don't owe the tracks a thing. The tracks don't owe the racers a thing. Put on a good enough show that compels people to come out, people will come out. I looked at South Boston. I sent you that link from the weekend. They had 45 late models show up for that big race. They had fans on top of fans. They had concerts and a midway and a $15 general admission ticket. If everybody does their shit right, you will get the cars, you will get the fans, you will get a memorable experience. It can't be a race to the bottom. It can't be everybody pointing fingers at somebody else while things go bad. We have to be willing and ready to adjust, to make changes to what's going to work, to what's going to be the future of the sport. And Clint, I'll say it again, I think there are a lot of types of race cars that are almost to the point where they deserve to be shelved. Guess what? You're going to be nothing but track days and car shows because you don't bring enough to put on a show. You can't be part of a show that people pay to see.
100%. You couldn't say it any better. Thanks, everybody, for watching. We'll see you live Friday night at Oshweek Speedway. That's our only show this week. Kind of a light weekend. Looking forward to that. Adam, I hope you feel 100% better soon. Spencer, thank you for everything you do for us out on the road and here with the program. Thank you, everybody, for being with us, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks for the kind words, everybody. I really appreciate it. Enjoy Merrittville. We'll see you guys next week.